It's Song Talk Radio with Michael, Neil, Phil, and the gang.
Hi there, songwriters. Guess what? It's Song Talk Radio, and we are super happy to have you stopping by today for your dose of songwriting goodness. So we just sit around here talking about songwriting and stuff, and hopefully at the end we all stumble across some tips that will hopefully help us all get a little bit better at writing songs. I am Phil Emery, and joining me, as always, are the very dedicated members of the Song Talk Radio Action team. Michael Proudfoot. How you doing, Michael?
I'm good. I'm also not Phil Emery, and I'm surviving well.
And Mr. Neil Modi.
Despite not being Phil Emery.
Yeah, I'm doing well, but I'm a little confused. I thought we were supposed to be learning how to make better salads.
Oh, that's next week. That's next week.
Oh, it's next week. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're going in reverse alphabetical order.
And our favorite guest, well, actually at this point, probably almost a member of the crew, stopping by is the head of Song Talk Studio Songwriting Camp, I guess, the generous front man, raconteur, bon vivant, and someone who I know owns at least 2 guitars, believe it or not, Mr. Blair Packham. Hey, Blair.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I own. I actually counted yesterday. I've owned more at one time than this, but I have an even dozen guitars.
Oh. That's not that many.
And a dulcimer.
Oh, that's cool.
Dulcimer. Wow.
And that's it. Yeah. Oh, and a guitarlele.
Has the dulcimer made it onto any of your records?
Yeah, the dulcimer made it. Yeah, I made it onto a song that I'm working on right now.
Oh.
Yeah, it's dulcimer is a beautiful instrument, and this one was a couple of $100 online, and I bought it without trying it, obviously, and it's worked out really well.
Cool.
What is a dulcimer exactly? From whence does it hail?
Can I do something really unprofessional and go get it?
Yeah, that's one of the benefits to doing this kind of show.
But I had this rule, and I'm not kidding, and we're going to talk about this later in the show. But I have I'm conscious about how I present. You wouldn't know that necessarily by seeing me on the street, but when I play music, I have a rule, and it's hard and fast. I do not appear on stage in shorts, but I'm wearing shorts right now.
I see.
When I get up to go get the dulcimer, you'll see that. So watch this.
Boxer shorts, right?
I see.
Second.
I feel like I've been roofied.
Well, there you go. Well, I was going to say it's live, but we're actually not live. We're on the...
The times you need X-ray vision, eh?
There.
All right.
Oh, okay.
By the way, my long pants feel so good today.
When you said dulcimer, I thought hammer dulcimer.
Well, yeah, you can play this with a hammer if you wish.
Okay.
So
or while hammered.
Yeah. So
hammered.
I can't really demonstrate it, but I guess I could if I did this. Let's see. Yeah. So there it is on my knee. So that's one string, right? And I'm just strumming it. And it doesn't go chromatically, it does semi-chromatically, but the point is that it's hard to make a mistake.
Nice.
Oh.
And Joni Mitchell used them all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Does that mean it's possible to play it in different keys, or do you have to conform to one key signature, so to speak?
I think you could play it in different keys, but you'd have to acknowledge that there's a drone string here. If you decided to not make that the root, you could play in different keys, but you would certainly be limited, unless you were tuning. And I have to say, on the cheap dulcimer, the tuning pegs are not great. Yeah. They don't hold that. Once you get it in tune, you glue it in place, basically. Not really, but it's delicate that way. So you would be limited. Now there's a group from British Columbia called Pied Pumpkin, and they were a thing in the 60s, a very hippie sort of group, but they continue to play now, and they're past their 60s now, as far as I know, in terms of their own ages. But they had at least one of them had a dulcimer that he wore like a guitar, like this, that plugged in, and he played it, you know, on all their songs, and including with distorted sounds. And
I was just going to say, distortion would sound great on that.
Yeah.
Blair, just can you tilt your camera up a little bit more?
Yeah.
You're cut off at the nose. There we go.
There you go. Much better. So is it kind of like sort of done in key, like so you don't have, it's not chromatic, but it's actually within a key, sort of.
Yeah. That's what I was suggesting.
Let's find out what key it actually is. I don't know. It's E flat right now, but that's just where it landed when I was tuning it last, you know. Just before our love got lost, you said, I am as constant as a northern star. Joni Mitchell wrote a lot and played a lot better than that on dulcimer. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
What's a guitar? What do you said? A guitar leanie?
Oh, guitarlele. I don't have that in the room.
Like
the guitarlele is made by Yamaha. It's a ukulele-sized instrument, but with 6 strings, tuned to a guitar, but a 4th up. So it's like a travel guitar, and it sounds kind of like a ukulele, but it's amazing. Those extra 2 strings really make it fuller sounding. So it's quite an interesting sound. It's somewhere in between a nylon string guitar and a ukulele. And it was like cool. $150, and with those, even though it's made by Yamaha, a big company, if the store has more than one, check out more than one, because one's not going to be so great, and the other one might be great. So, but well worth it. I mean, I have it around the house, and I've never used it on stage, but I find it very inspiring to play on. So, you know.
Yeah, it's just good to just play something new, you know, to kind of get some new ideas.
Yeah, change things up. Exactly.
Yeah. It certainly puts your brain in a different place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Blair, I wanted to ask you about SongStudio, because before you guys, you actually had an event where people came and met and had this incredible week, but it's going to be different now, I guess.
Yeah, like many events, not most events, but many events, and a lot of educational initiatives, we're going online. And we'll be doing our workshop online, fully online, no live, no in-person meetings. But I think that in some ways it's going to be better than it has been in the past, because we're able to, well, first of all, we've done some tests with some SongStudio veterans, and it was so much fun. It was really good. And we were on for a couple of hours at a time, and it was tiresome at the end, but the experience, we were actually able to really zero in on people's songs. The whole purpose of SongStudio is to help you write better songs, and that help can come from the many fabulous mentors we have, which include me and Alistair Bradley, but also include guest mentors every year, some of whom are, hit song makers and so forth, and all of whom are great artists. But, the help that you may get in writing better songs doesn't necessarily even come from that. I mean, they make, all of us may make suggestions that you disagree with, and you think, no, I'm not going to do that. But just the environment of being with all these other people for a week and focusing in on your songwriting, I think it can't help but make you a better songwriter. Just from that experience, it's a real indulgence. I have to admit, but I don't know. It's our 16th year, and we keep incrementally growing. And this year, when we thought we would actually cancel and not do it at all, we've already got 37 people signed up, which at this time in the in the scheme of things, we would normally have about 20 people signed up. So we're way ahead of the game.
Yeah, and I've never been to it, but like you're saying, Blair, I imagine that it's very immersive like that. Like it's sort of like if you immerse yourself in a country that speaks a different language than you do, you're going to pick up some of the language even for a week.
Yeah, that's great.
And you really engage with the people, then you're gonna pick up something, right?
Yeah, and one of the great things about the live workshop that we would do normally is that there are tons of performance opportunities in places where the participants might not normally get a chance to play. Whether it's Say What or Supermarket in Kensington Market or Hughes Room, which of course nobody's playing at anymore. But for years, they had a chance to play on the Hughes Room stage. Unfortunately, of course, with the virus, we won't be able to offer that. But you will be heard, and we will actually have online open mics. But they're open mics for our people, for our participants. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm very excited about this year. We've got some great mentors lined up. We've got from the New Pornographers. We've got AC Newman coming in for 3 days. We've got Patricia Conroy coming in from Nashville. Davenant Doyle, Hill Kurkutis, who is a producer and a songwriter and a really an amazing woman. Liam Russell, who also lives in Nashville but is from here originally. Rick Emmett from the band Triumph is the co-founder of the workshop with me, and he'll be part of it. But I'm talking to all kinds of interesting people, asking if they want to be mentors at SongStudio. And so far the reaction has been really positive. So I can't announce some of the names yet, but I'm going to in the next few days.
How many participants can you, what's the legal load limit?
Well, it's funny. I mean, now there's no really.
There's no physical limitation.
Yeah. Usually we've had 50, anywhere between 40 and 50 people.
Right.
We like to keep the workshopping groups, which would be sitting not one-on-one, but in a small group with a mentor. We like to keep those down to 6 or 8 songwriters at most, 6 usually. So everybody's song gets a lot of attention from that, and that's over almost 3 hours. So you get to hear people's songs, and if you get through them quickly, then do another song, and we'll go through that. But the way things are working right now, if we suddenly had 70 people, we would just ask some more mentors to join us. It's kind of fantastic.
And the great thing is that anyone from basically the globe can actually come in and take the course. It's not being limited to someone who has to actually come to Toronto.
Yeah, we have a number of people from across Canada right now. And we have someone from the UK who's a participant. I have asked someone from Ireland to be a mentor, and I expect, barring some schedule conflict, which in the time of coronavirus is kind of unlikely.
That's true.
And if somebody just doesn't want to do it, of course that's fine. And but if they do have the time, it's not a bad way to help other people and get paid for it. We pay the mentors, of course. That's where the tuition fees go, and so it's a way for it's actually a way for us to employ some people who might be severely unemployed at this time.
And what are the tuition fees? Sorry.
Well, it varies. So I never have a straight answer for this. It varies because we offer incentive deals depending on the time. Like for instance, if you signed up in September, it was considerably less than it is now. The normal price is around $1,000. That's for the physical workshop. We're charging less because we're not spending money on the physical workshop. And that's for 7 days and night, morning, noon, and night programming. We're going to be offering a little less programming in the evenings, but we're going to have full days workshops. So the price, that's a good question, Michael. As I say,
SongStudio.ca, I guess.
Exactly. SongStudio.ca is the place to find out. There are discounts for people who are Songwriters Association members. There are other discounts available. So we really just want to have a full workshop with songwriters, and it looks like we're going to have one.
Sorry, did you mention when is the date? When does this take place?
It's the 18th of July through the 24th. So that's 7 full days. It's really 6.5 full days. But we've got music industry people coming. We've got a few producers, Hill Kurkutis, who I mentioned, but also Michael Voyevoda will be joining us. Michael produced Gordon for Bare Naked Ladies. But he also produced You Jerk by Kim Stockwood, and he produced records for the Doughboys and the Pocket Dwellers and other things. Oh, he produced the theme song for for Big Bang Theory.
Very cool.
Oh, that little thing.
Yeah. And He played drums in the Rio Statics for years and produced them as well. He's a great guy with many great stories to tell. And
so in the SongStudio workshop, Blair, are there any specific workshops on like how to present yourself while you're performing?
Maybe. We're just putting the content together now. The main thrust of the workshop is what we call workshops, where we sit and listen in small groups to songs and we offer constructive criticism. And that advice or the commentary may come from the mentor, usually does, but it might also come from your fellow songwriters. It's the kind of thing where I always say to songwriters, especially those who are new to the process of rewriting, which a lot of songwriters are very reluctant to do, and they get very defensive instantly. And I understand, because I'm the same way. But I always say, look, if you play your song for 6 people and ask each of them for commentary, and 4 out of the 6 say the chorus comes too soon, maybe you should move the chorus. Maybe you should try it anyway. If you get a consensus and people are saying it over and over again, break down your defenses and give it a go. If you don't like it, you're the ultimate arbiter. Nobody's saying you have to do anything. But, if it's felt that your song will communicate better by shifting some section around or changing a line here or there, it's certainly worth considering that advice. So that's the main thrust of the workshop. But we do offer educational things, educational seminars, and presenting yourself could be a thing, although we try to focus on the writing itself more than anything.
Well, let's how about throwing us some tips from all your years of putting your songs across on stage. Do you have any tips for people either putting their stuff across on Zoom or on a live stage, which hopefully will come back someday?
Well, I do.
Do's and don'ts.
And I would say my opinion comes not just from doing it myself, but also from, I teach at Seneca College, and so I have, 60 students a year there, and then I have, 50 students or so at SongStudio, and then anybody else who might ask me, and all the music I see in between. So I get to see and hear a lot of songs, all the time. I'm hearing new songs and I'm hearing people present them, and often these people are newer songwriters. So I see a lot of things that I consider things to think about. And they bother me probably more than they bother most people. So, you can take it with a bit of a grain of salt. It's just that I see so much stuff. So one thing is, own the stage. Own that moment. Be aware that every moment you're on stage, people are watching you. And the moment you step up and you go to plug your guitar in or sit behind the keyboard or whatever, you're being watched and people have an expectation. And if you get up and you futz around and you take a long time to get ready, and it's because you're nervous maybe, or you're just disorganized, or whatever the reason is, people are watching you. And I don't want to freak anybody out, but the fact is, you're on stage. Own that moment. It's a gift to have an audience. Don't act entitled. Don't feel entitled to an audience. Trust me, if you keep on playing music for people, there will be times when you have no audience. And when you have no audience, you become grateful for the times when you have an audience. And you should be grateful. I really think you should be grateful. Nobody owes you a listen. Nobody has to listen to your songs. And quite frankly, most people don't want to hear your songs. And I'm saying this to me too. They don't. I've been amused during this during the virus, during the pandemic, that people are going online on Facebook and they're saying, I would like to give you they're saying to their Facebook friends, I would like to give you this gift of this song that will uplift you during this time, during this difficult time. And I'm like, no, thank you. And I click onwards, not always, but the idea, I'd love to have so much self-confidence that I believe that I was giving people a gift with my songs. I believe that people are giving me a gift by listening. I really do. And if you don't think that, I think you should think about it some more. So that's some advice, is own the moment. Don't apologize. Go up on stage, ready to play. Don't hem and haw about what you're going to play. Don't tell the audience that you had a rough night last night and that your voice is kind of messed up and that you're not feeling great. and all those other excuses that so many singer-songwriters do all the time. And to me, it's like, if I had like a brain surgeon and I'm lying on the gurney, you know, and I'm waiting to be anesthetized, and he comes in, she comes in, and she says, you know, she's got her hands in the gloves, and she goes, "Oh man, I got so wasted last night. I'm like, my hands are shaking, you know, but I'll do the best I can. You know what I mean, buddy? You know, I mean, why would you do that? You know, I mean, if your voice is really so messed up that you have to draw attention to it, I get that. I played a gig in September where I had some virus, some illness, and I couldn't sing. So I felt like it was the elephant in the room. So I felt like after the first song, not before the first song, but after the first song, I had to remark on it and say, "I'm sorry, I've been sick for a week now, and I thought my voice would be back by now." But to do it before you even play, I think people think that it's a preemptive kind of thing, kind of like if I make a joke about being fat, which I am, which I'm overweight, and that's okay. I'm owning it. But I do, like, subconsciously feel like if I make a reference to it, you're not going to notice. It sort of gets in there before you do. You think you're going to insult me, but wait, I'll insult myself first. You know, which is crazy, because people are going to think what they think anyway, and you can't control that. So, you know, own the moment. Don't apologize. Don't make excuses. Another thing I would say is don't explain every single song. If your songs require explanations every time, or even much of the time, maybe the song's not finished writing. You know, maybe you need to rewrite it. Maybe. Now, do I tell stories before I play a song? Yes, of course I do. It's a time-honored thing for a singer-songwriter to do. And Phil, you introduced me very generously as a raconteur. I'm really comfortable talking, so yeah, so I'm going to talk before my song. But rarely do I say, this next song is about ... I just don't, like, I'll tell a story that maybe doesn't appear to connect to the song in a literal or linear way, but illustrates it, you know. I put some thought into the talk. I don't know. Or sometimes you can just say something like, this song's about my ex-girlfriend, and that says volumes. But yeah, unfortunately, many singer-songwriters will then go on to say volumes. Mm-hmm. And you just don't need to. Your job is there to sing and play. Oh, here's another thing. When you play at a venue where people might have gone, unfortunately, bar owners, restaurant owners, they're just trying to make a living, and so they'll put in music as an afterthought. They'll have TVs on with the hockey game on. There'll be a pool table off in the side and so forth, and there'll be somebody running a trivia game in the next room, and all the people sitting at the bar with their backs to you. You know, there's a lot of competition for attention, and to go into that situation as a singer-songwriter and again feel entitled to have the attention of that room is really not good. To blame people for wanting to go out and have a good time is wrong. It's the height of entitlement, really, for a singer-songwriter, I think. I think it's good to go in knowing that in some rooms it's going to be an uphill battle, and knowing that your job is to win those people over, if you want. Some people don't care. There's two schools of thought, and if this hand represents the entertainer and this hand represents the artist, some people feel those things never cross over, they never combine, and the entertainer is concerned about showing people a good time, and the artist is less so, not entirely free of it, but less so. It depends on who you are and where you are on the spectrum that goes between those two, Do
you have any tips on winning over a crowd, or so dependent on the circumstances?
I think owning the moment, and what that means for me is going up quickly, plugging in, and start playing. Don't tune on stage. Just start your song. Don't make people wait. You'll have their attention by virtue of going up on the stage. They'll see the activity, they'll sort of look, they'll see that you're up there, and they'll wait. And if you take too long to plug in and get going, they're going to go back to talking to their friends.
And taking too long is not very long.
Yeah, not very long
it's true.
at
That's
all.
true.
It's not long at all.
Yeah,
Minutes.
So owning the moment. I would go up without saying anything at all to the audience, and I'd start singing. My feeling about that is, I want to show you what I've got. If you like it, great. But I'm not going to get up and try and win you over verbally first. Like, how's it going, everybody? How you doing? You know, like, sort of like, hey, my name's Blair. I'm glad to be here, you know, and so forth. All that stuff's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I wouldn't open with that. I'd open with a song. That's what I'm there to do. So for me, opening with a song, maybe opening with two before you say a word. Then when you talk, address them directly. Don't mumble. Don't apologize. Don't laugh at your own jokes. Be direct. Again, owning the moment. There's a certain sort of rigor to it. And then don't talk too long. Again, you're there to play music, you know, and I don't know. And be sure you've set up your set so that you're not playing all slow, sad songs, and you're not playing all funny songs, and you're not playing like some variety is nice, you know. They're not all dark, mysterious, obscure songs where the meaning has to be explained to the audience before every song, because they're not paying that close attention. Even your friends aren't paying that close attention.
So
even your mom isn't paying that close attention. So, you know, come from the assumption that they're not paying attention and you need to win them over. That's my big advice, I would say.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And speaking from experience, playing to nobody is a really interesting, demoralizing, but a very real experience. I think every musician has to go through.
I would say so. In fact, just thinking about it makes me need a drink. So
I remember playing the Turning Point years ago.
What was that like?
I was just saying, playing the Turning Point, and at a long rectangular bar, some nights very empty, and over the bar at the far end of the room was the hockey game. And I remember playing there some nights and just watching the hockey game as I'm singing. And
you're more interested.
I remember playing there, and Joe and Anna, the couple who would be fighting.
Yeah,
and it was just them and a couple of punks. Like, and they're sitting in the front. The punks, you know, in leather and studs and stuff, they're not fighting. But Joe and Anna, who seemed to me at that point to be ancient, they were probably like 45 years old. Yeah. But they seemed ancient, and they're like, yeah, you bastard, and so forth. And it's just like, oh God, you know.
I never understood the Turning Point.
the one thing I want to touch on that you spoke about, Blair, is about talking about the song before you play the song. And sometimes it's not that the song is incomplete, I think, but the danger comes in, like you say, like if you're just redundant. If you explain the song and then sing the song that pretty much says what the song is about, that's when the danger comes in. So, you know, like sometimes I tell the guys in my band to be like, you know, like pose a question to the audience, and then the song is sort of the answer. Like that's one way around it. But
that's true.
What you were saying as well about getting on stage and just getting right into it. Well, there was two things. It reminded me of this comedian I saw years ago that a guy came on stage, and there's a stool there with a glass of water at the table, and he doesn't look at the audience. He just takes a drink of the water, paces around a little bit, looks around for like a good 60 seconds almost, and then finally looks at the audience and says, "When you guys get to work, do you start work right away?"
Yeah, that's right.
But
speaking of that, I'm afraid we are out of time. I know, so fast, because that's all the time we have tonight on Song Talk Radio. Special thanks to Mr. Blair Packham. Thanks for coming on the show, Blair.
Thanks,
Blair. Good to have you back.
Amazing tips.
How do people get more of you?
Well, my website, which is very infrequently updated, but it would lead to other places, www.blairpackham.com, but also on Facebook, on SoundCloud, on Bandcamp. I think I'm fairly easily found.
Okay, and on Twitter.
Oh, yes, indeed. Oh,
Blair spelled Blair. Right?
And Packham is Packham, Packham.
That's
good.
great. Send us your impressions on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Song Talk Radio, or send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca. Also, be sure to check out the YouTube channel for live performances and this show, as if that's enough. And please stop by the site at songtalk.ca. Subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher.com, Spotify, Podcast Addict, and TuneIn.com. And don't forget to sign up for the free newsletter at the site as well. You can find the links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned here on the show on the resources page. And if you happen to be in the Toronto area, well, actually, it doesn't even matter if you're in the Toronto area. You can always stop by.
You're anywhere in the world.
And stop by the next Song Talk meetup on Skype on Monday, June 22nd from 7 p.m. To 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be online, so it's going to be great. It's free to join and a lot of fun. Stop by the site to find out more about that. And thanks to Vanessa for keeping us on track here. And also, we'd like to thank you, the devoted listener. You can follow Neil at
neilmodi.com.
How about you, Michael?
Instagram, Proudfoot420.
And you can follow me at the Phil Emery on Twitter. Stop by the site at songtalk.ca to browse past shows. Find out how you can be a guest. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time. Good night.
Good night.